I'm joined today by Brendan Kennedy, the CEO of Tilray, the largest cannabis company out there. Brendan, it's great to have you on. As always, it feels like when you and I catch up recently, the market for cannabis has been up against it. Share prices are down. So let's start there because it has been a tough time in the industry. Have we bottomed out?
Ed, thanks for having me. When I look at the industry, I think that markets tend to massively overestimate short-term opportunities and massively underestimate the long-term opportunities. And when I look at the cannabis industry globally, I tell our investors, I tell our shareholders and employees every day, this is day one. And if you look at adult use, we're talking about two countries, Uruguay and Canada, that have legalized. 2 out of 196, 1% of the countries in the world have legalized adult use. But I think that we will see 3 to 4 countries over the next 12 to 18 months, and that second wave will lead to a third wave. So this is just, it's early days in an emerging growth industry. And so while expectations were lofty a year ago, I think that expectations today have settled down, and I think valuations today are much more realistic compared to where they were a year ago.
Do you think the industry has any responsibility for those kind of, as you say, sort of outsized expectations? There was a lot of hype, and the market did think, there were going to be huge opportunities opening up both in the medicinal markets and in the recreational markets, and the industry did a lot to drive that hope.
I think that there's lots of opportunities for self-reflection within the industry. I think you're seeing, frankly, some new CEOs come in throughout the industry, CEOs who are more focused on the long-term opportunity, focused on steady growth and managing each country and each state that legalizes in the coming years.
Well, talk to me, Brendan, about your own position, because as you say, a lot of new CEOs coming in. You have brought some new, pretty senior management in recently. The last 2 years, the shares of Tilray down about 90%. A lot of CEOs, most industries would not survive that. Have you thought about your own position, whether you are indeed the right person to take this company forward?
Yeah, I was brought in as CEO, as a longtime investor in Tilray, and I was brought in to do something that had never been done before. I was brought in, along with our CFO, Mark Castaneda, to take a cannabis company public on a U.S. exchange. And I was brought in 2 years ago to do that, accomplished that about 18 months ago. And when I look at what is in front of us today, I really think there are two different stages within our own company. When I look at our business in Canada and our hemp food business in the United States, those are maturing, more stable businesses, still opportunities for massive growth. And so we brought in a COO, John Levin from Revlon, to help manage the day-to-day operations within those segments of our business. A woman named Katie Dixon for our Manitoba Harvest hemp business. But when I look at what's about to happen in the coming years in terms of countries like Germany and France, the UK, which has legalized, and Ireland, countries throughout Europe, there's still a long-term strategic opportunity.
Well, Brendan, let's just look at the US for a moment, because obviously that is a hugely important market. We've talked previously about the importance of federal legalization. Just looking at the Democrats who are in the race, we haven't heard much from any of them about cannabis. Is there any that the industry and that Tilray are particularly focused on as being potentially good for cannabis?
I think all of the candidates from both parties are actually going to be good for cannabis. All the Democrats have come on the record as being in favor of at least medical cannabis legalization and adult use legalization, or at least leaving it up to the states. It's an issue that has bipartisan, nonpartisan. It's a nonpartisan issue. It has bipartisan support, and so when I look at medical, 93% of Americans believe it should be legalized. Adult use, about 65%. The majority of Republicans now favor legalization. And so I think most people are looking at things like the States Act and safe banking. I don't think those are the right key leading indicators. I think what I'm keeping my eye on are ballot initiatives in states such as Idaho, Montana, Missouri, Oklahoma, not exactly liberal, progressive states, Republican strongholds. And I think that we'll end up in a place where 10 months from now, November 2020, where we'll see 10 to 12 Republican senators wake up on a Wednesday morning in November representing a district, a state that has legalized either medical cannabis or adult use cannabis. And I think that is what drives federal legalization in the U.S.